Hello. Well, today we have Monique Rondeau, a former HSE professional who embarked on an exciting new journey in 2017 when she founded her SaaS, which I've just learned now is software as a service, Bikini Bliss Fitness. So I learned something new. This venture is not just a business, but a platform for inspiring women through a transformational challenge conducted via her app. The allure of the grand prize trip to a tropical paradise for two winners added an exciting twist to the challenge. Over the years, Monique has sent winners to stunning locations such as Maui, Tulum, Cabo, and Sayulita. Is that how you say it?
Ayulita, yeah,
Sayulita. Okay, well, I need to go
yes,
there, obviously, because I don't know how to say it.
you do. Everyone does.
These trips include a professional photo shoot to capture the fruits of perseverance and willpower, providing a keepsake of this pivotal moment in each winner's life. Monique carries several certifications, including personal training, sports nutrition, CrossFit, and yoga, and is currently studying positive psychology. That's interesting. A staunch advocate for making authentic living, which I believe too. She believes the healthiest choice is this is the healthiest choice one can make. In addition to her fitness company, Monique also hosts a podcast, Unfiltered and Unfollowed, and owns an apparel company, Pineapple Co. Would it be Pineapple Co. PNPL.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, that's
Yep.
okay. And leads a joyful life with her husband and her two fur babies, Maya, the rescue cat, and Mochi, the Shiba Inu with the intelligence that keeps everybody on their toes. They split their times between Kelowna, BC, California, and Oahu. That's really tough. That seems like a really tough place to split all between,
Yeah.
and which holds a distinction of being Monique's birthplace. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Well,
I know
thanks for having me.
we were scheduling back and forth. It took us a while to get this. So I'm super excited to have this conversation with you. We've known each other for several years in the industry, I guess many years, really, through the
Yeah.
right? So let's start right kind of from the beginning. Can you tell us about your journey and how it's taken you to where you are now and this amazing transformational challenge that you host?
Well, as far as my journey with health and fitness, that started probably in my mid-20s, I would say. And it was just a roller coaster, when if I can even remember my 20s right now, but a lot of ups and downs, a lot of rock bottoms. And I just really needed something to pull me out of a lot of dark places, and fitness was there for me then, and I just it's been there for me ever since then. So it's completely as cliche as it sounds, it saved my life multiple times, and I just thought, why not lean into something that, if it could save my life to that extent, what it can do for other people, whether it's even just giving them more confidence or feeling, well, confidence is the key in everything, right? So once you are confident in yourself, then you're able to make the moves that you're too scared to do. So it's been a ride. I can't believe it's only been since 2017. I know that sounds like a long time ago, but it doesn't really feel like it. But yeah. So what I was doing was I was actually training people part-time when I was working in oil and gas up in Fort McMurray.
Yep.
So I would work a shift. So on my days off, I would be in the gym training clients. And I just really, I don't know if you're familiar with Alberta, but it's very hustle mentality. So I was just hustling. I was like, I love doing this, but I love doing this. And I just, I want to do everything. Like, you know me, I want to do everything. So I'm like,
with you. I
why
get
not? Yeah. And then eventually it got to the point where, I was building my business, on the side. And I was like, I don't remember if somebody said it to me or I read a quote, but somebody was like, if you're 1 foot in and 1 foot out of two different things, you're going to stay there forever and they're both going to suffer. So you have to go all into something to make it, as
big as you want it to be.
right. So I was like, all right. So very stubborn, very scared of changing because I had worked my way up in oil and gas. And, I was making great money. I was working a lot. I was able to provide everything I could ever want for my life, albeit in a very isolated place. I just, the universe was just like throwing one wrench after another at me. And I was like, all right, like I get it. So I jumped all in. I did a eat, pray, love thing and moved to Mexico for a few months. I quit my job. I left my husband at the time, who it was a toxic marriage anyway. So I just went, forget this, start again. And I think I was 34 when I did it. So I was there for 6 months and I just like literally, you think I'm going to Mexico to live there for 5 months. I'll be, sipping margaritas, beachside, 24/7. Most of it I set wow, okay. Most of it I spend sweating my ass off on the couch of the place that I rented behind my laptop, just learning everything there was to learn about marketing, online businesses, how to sell your products, how to sell yourself. It's it's interesting because people don't buy products, people buy people. So I had to, it makes you look at your identity, and then, God forbid, like that's just a whole nother journey in itself. So yeah, so I did that for 5 months, came back to Canada, figured out where I wanted to live, ended up back in my dad's basement in Red Deer for almost a year. And by the way, I just want to note that they didn't want me to leave when I was like, I'm moving to Calgary. I can't live with you guys forever. They were like, oh no, who's going to make us breakfast and do healthy grocery shopping? And where is our maid going? No, just kidding. Moved to Calgary, continued working on my business there. And it didn't actually really blow up until I moved to Kelowna, which was 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. I moved here, and I actually met my husband, my current husband, my hopefully forever husband. And he was in the tech space, so he really helped me learn more about, everything there is to know about that. He probably would say is my business mentor because he knows so much about everything. And he just, kind of showed me the ropes, and we just went from there, and it just gradually over time with his help and his,
Guidance.
savvy and guidance. Yeah. It just, I grew, so it grew.
Amazing. And so
Yeah.
everything is run, Bikini Bliss, the challenge is all run off an app. So it's not on a website, it's all app based.
Yep.
That's incredible. And so all the workouts, meal plans, everything is through the app. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And so he was kind of the app expert, I guess, the software as a service, as you've told me today.
Software as a service expert. Yeah. Yeah. Because I initially wanted to create my own app, which a lot of people I think do. And hopefully there are other personal trainers out there who watch this, but that will run you $200,000 plus maintaining it forever. Right. Yeah. So it is
update, right? Like you're updating all the time.
constantly. Yeah. You have to have an IT guy on staff. You have to have people who can fix your software, who is aligned with Apple, who's aligned with Android. But I was like, you're young, you're new in business, you're doing well. You're like, I'm going to make money. I can afford this, but to stop and think like, why would I do this when I could just pay a company to white label their app, and then you create your own videos and plug it in, and it's actually much more cost effective in the long run.
Interesting. Interesting. There's a
Yeah.
whole thing. I mean, I find I'm always getting asked about an app, and that's something I probably would look at down the road, especially with our QR codes on the front of product. Looking at having and I've been thinking about that lately too. So I might come pick your brain on that one.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
For sure. So when you decided to take the leap and go all in on Bikini Bliss, that's when you were in Kelowna. That's when you said, "Okay, that's it. I'm all in." Or
I was doing. Sorry.
When you left, sorry, no worries. Or when you left up north.
When I left up north, that's when I went all in. Yeah. But I was building my personal training business. And the funny thing about Bikini Bliss was it was just like a little challenge for my clients that I would have. And I would just go around, and you remember when I was with Pharma Freak. So I would go around then and ask them to, sponsor it. And they would throw stuff into a swag bag, and I would get like Fitmark to give me a bag, or, just people in our industry that I knew who wanted promo. And I would, just give away a bunch of stuff that I had donated. And then it to me, it just didn't seem like it was standing out enough.
Yeah.
It was okay, like this is cool, but what if? And I love traveling. I think everybody should see the world. At least go to your favorite places that are the top 3 on your bucket list. At least, like, we have one go at this life.
100%.
So like, what if they could win a trip?
Yeah, that's very
Yeah. And that's in 2018 was the first trip to Hawaii.
Well, it's kind of like if you think about back in the day, Body for Life, right? But with
Yeah.
Bill Phillips, right? He had his big and the books, and it was so interesting because his books back in the day, we'd look at all the transformations, but it really motivates people when they do have something that's prizeworthy. I mean, a gift bag's, that's good, but a trip is like, that's what you got to have something, Tony Robbins talks about, right? That you got to have something that really kind of draws you towards it, that gives you that to make the changes, especially when you're
Yeah.
thinking about diet and lifestyle, because it's so easy to be like, whatever. But when you have that goal that's bigger than
Yeah.
the craving of the cookie, that's when you'll stay on track.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how many times have you gone on trips? How many trips have you taken? 5 or 4?
So there's 2 every year.
Oh, there's
So
every year.
12 trips we've done minus the 2 over
Oh,
COVID, obviously.
and
Yeah.
so when is the new one, is the one on right now, or is it starting?
So there's one that starts on January 8th, but
Oh, anybody who wants to do it, January 8th.
right, January. This is the first time
Perfect.
I've launched one in January because I don't, from a business perspective, I don't like to feel like I'm pushing like everybody else is pushing, new year, new you, I'm like, well, you should just do it all year long. Like,
Yeah.
so I would normally start in March,
Yeah.
but January 8th, we're doing one. It's 12 weeks, and the grand prize is actually a spot in my girlfriend, who's my photographer for Bikini Bliss, in her photo shoot retreat. So it is just a beautiful photo shoot retreat where women can go and get their photos taken, learn how to pose, feel like supermodels for, 4 days,
Oh, that's so incredible. That's
relaxing
so incredible.
poolside. Yeah.
That is,
So
and well, how it must be such a gratifying experience. And you get to go on the trip too. So that's an added bonus there.
yeah,
But what
definitely a
a
bonus.
gratifying experience to be able to, I mean, and you and I have both, been in the fitness industry a long time. I've done shows. I believe you've done shows as well, correct? Yeah, you've competed too. And so it's a lot of people don't understand how, for one, how challenging it is, and the feeling of when you actually get to that level and you understand that if you focus and do little habits every day, just little steps, like that's the whole thing of doing a show, even though I don't think it's healthy and I wouldn't do it again. But
No,
it really
same.
shows you that these little things every day all add up. Right.
Yep.
That's something I think we've both been able to apply to our business and to life in general, is understanding these little things every day and being able to change your body like that. It's a real, like, holy crap, I can do this. Like, you have
Yeah.
the willpower. And so it must be so neat as well to be as a coach on the side where you're not taking them to the super extreme, but they're able to really transform, physically, and I'm sure obviously mentally and emotionally as well.
Well, the great thing is that once we stop looking for the physical transformations, that's when they happen.
Yeah, that's
So
so
people
true.
or women especially are like, oh, I didn't lose any weight this week, or, the nothing's budging, the scale's not moving, but my clothes feel better and I lifted heavier and my skin is nicer. And I'm like, well, focus on those things. And then the big thing that you're waiting for is going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very anti-scale, just because
Yeah.
I struggled with eating disorders for so many years. But so I don't have one. I usually just kind of go by how my clothing fits. But that's one
Yeah.
of the common things I hear so many women, they're like, I'm working out and the scale's not moving. I'm like, well, stop looking at the scale. How do you feel?
Yeah.
The fact that you made it to the gym 4 times this week when you've never done that before, that's a win. That's a solid win.
Huge.
The fact that
Yeah.
you're lifting weights, and it's a big message when I do my talks, is women need to be lifting weights. We have to be lifting weight bearing exercises, especially as we age. Like, it's so important, right? And I hope that more women start lifting. I know when I first started working out way back, there was hardly any women in the gym. And now I go into like the women's area and it's really busy and packed, and I love it. I'm like, yes. And a lot of
Yeah.
them are
They're off the
girls,
treadmills. Yeah.
right? The girls are
Yeah.
lifting. I'm like, yay.
Yeah.
So
It's scary though,
yeah,
especially going to the gym and like we go to the cardio equipment because that's what we're like.
yeah,
I did it when I started too. That's what we're familiar with. We're like, we can stay over here. I could stay here for an hour and just do cardio. I know what's up. It doesn't take me mustering up any confidence or courage to go over there. People are judging me. All the thoughts that you think, right?
yeah, for sure.
So it's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. And so your clothing brand, um, how long have you had that? I love your clothing brand. I remember when you first started it too. I kept trying to order a sweater, but it kept selling out every time it got sold. I was trying to get one for Michaela. So tell me about your clothing brand. How did that come to be? And that's probably an extension of Bikini Bliss as well. And it makes sense. Now I know why you have a pineapple, because you're born in Hawaii.
Yeah. Yes. Not because I am a
Bikini.
swinger, just putting that out for everybody to be
I think
aware.
they're supposed to be upside down, aren't they? So you're
It is.
saying,
Yes. I know. The flack I have caught from that is ridiculous.
People are hoping. They're like, oh, you're like,
Maybe
no.
that's what it is, but I sure do get asked a lot.
So funny.
So that actually was my husband's idea. I had I'm trying to make a long story short and appropriate. I had gone in with a girlfriend on a brand, on a clothing brand, and we were really into it. And we had a difference of opinions as far as marketing went. And I was very much pound the pavement, getting it in stores in Calgary, getting it in stores here. Because when you're smaller, that's how you grow and grow, right? And we didn't align. So I walked away from it, and I was kind of bummed out because I love clothes. I'm a female form. I love clothes. Like shopping is like my favorite thing to do. So Dan, my husband, was like, well, why don't we start our own and we can just, sell it to your clients if you don't want to be a big thing. And that's what we did. And he drew the initial design. And then we just took it to a print shop in Kelowna. We got 12 sweaters made. They sold right away. People were like, more, more, more. So we did it. And then I will tell you, over COVID, which was probably, this is crazy. Over COVID, we couldn't even get anything. So we just could get blanks, and we didn't have suppliers in other places yet. We were still really small. We were screen printing and heat pressing our own shirts and sweaters.
Really?
And the orders in our living room, we would set up like a big table, like the tables that you use at at trade shows and stuff. Yeah. We would set it up. We got a screen printer, we got a heat press, like we got all the stuff, and we would just do it ourselves. And I'm pretty sure it was COVID that taught us how to do everything at home. But yeah, we absolutely like it got, that was probably the peak of pineapple, I would say, was over COVID. Same as Bliss, everyone's at home. But we were able to connect with our audience more, via Instagram with lives and whatnot. And then after that, it just, I'm not going to say it dwindled. It just, I didn't have, the time wasn't there, right, to be doing that. And I think what people don't realize about clothing brands or clothes in general is that unless that is like your main driver, it is time consuming, and the profit margins are just not going to be there. So you have to really, really love what you're creating, what you're selling, and have time or have the team to do it, because I don't have the time or the team to do it right now.
Well, I mean, with anything, it's kind of like we said before, making sure or focusing what you focus on. And that's kind of my own experiences too, with having Erin Wellness. And then also I was working full time for another company. And this past fall, I made the decision to go all in, because you're not able to give all your energy. And because you might be like myself, I always like to be, I'm very busy all the time. I'm always doing stuff. And so
yeah,
it's like the second I have some spare time, like even when I gave up the company I was working for, I'm like, maybe I should do a fitness show or do a photo shoot, and I'm like, no, we're not doing that. We are doing Erin Wellness. This is all we're doing right now.
Focus on one thing,
because I tend to do that as well. I'm like, oh, we could do shirts. I'm like shiny things, right? So it is kind of true, unless, especially during COVID, it would have been different because we're all hunkered in anyways. So
yeah,
easier to
nothing
put
but time
to those two things. But then all of a sudden it opens up, right? You're on the go all the time. So you still have pineapple. You're just not, it's
still a thing.
Bikini Bliss.
It's not the main focus. My actual goal with that is to roll into swimwear. So
that makes a good tie-in though. That does make so much sense.
right. And I can even, the Bliss bikinis,
yeah, totally.
pineapple, and it just, it makes a lot of sense, but it's one of the thousands of things on my list of things I want to do. So,
and what have you learned from building? I mean, you've built brand as both coaching and then also as a finished good. So what do you think, what's been a good lesson for you? What's a lesson you've learned?
I think with coaching, when you're selling a service, it's a lot easier price point wise, like as far as business is concerned, because you can say, hey, this is what my time is worth, and that's what you charge. But when you have a product, you're like, okay, so you have the product, which is all people are actually paying for, the product, the packaging, the shipping, but you can't build in your time into that product. Otherwise it will be too expensive. And people, would be like, why is this so expensive? So you have to really love it, because I'm sure you're giving up a lot of your time. So it has to be your passion.
I fully agree with that. I fully agree with that. So what is,
I feel like you could feel that. Yeah.
I totally feel that. I know it's funny. Having my mom here this past couple of days, even I thought, I'd have so much more time now that I'm not working for another company as well as my own brand. And
Yeah.
I still, I sat here every night and worked till 10 o'clock with my laptop open. Everybody's watching TV and visiting, but I still have to, it just never stops. And I do love it. I guess that's why it's okay. I mean, I wake
It's your
up
passion.
about it, I go to bed thinking about it, so what is the best advice a mentor has ever given you?
That was a hard question.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah, because I have learned so much from so many different people. And honestly, like I have a principle, I guess, where I try not to create relationships with people who are not someone I can learn something from. So I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I actually want to be in a room with people who are able to, share their knowledge. And what is a mentor besides somebody who has gone through everything already and wants to share that to give them purpose right now, right?
Yeah.
So I would say my mom, who's not my mentor, but she is my mother and she is amazing, told me when I was really little that if I wanted to do something, even be the president, I could do it, but I'd have to really want it. And you hear that when you're a kid and you're like, I can do anything, which is great for childhood development, obviously. But then you get older and you're like, that last part of the question, what if you really want it? So then you have to ask yourself, do I really want it? What do I really want from this? And then you have to break everything down and then obviously psychologically go inside and try to figure it out. So that is, was that a quote?
I think that's great advice.
There's a life advice.
You do.
So knowing what you want.
Yeah, knowing what you want and realizing that it takes work, right? It takes no matter what.
Oh, everything.
I always really struggle with the whole manifestation conversation, right? The whole like you think it and dream it and be it. It's like no. Think it and dream it, but you have to work your ass off. Like you have to work hard. There is that 0.001% that gets that the timing's right, and they might have that one thing that excels them to the next level really fast, but everybody else, you put the work in. You have to grind at it, and it takes time, and it's not pretty. And entrepreneurship, I think, especially the past couple of years, has really received this glory kind of around it. And people just, an entrepreneur, it's gonna, then I can drive beautiful cars and do what I want and have.
I'm so rich. Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh my God, it is so much work, right? And so
they're not showing you the car payments.
They're getting exactly because they're getting the whole, the social media view. They're not getting the grind that happens in the background where every, it is that roller coaster. You're like, yay, and you're like, oh shit. And you're like, yay.
Oh my God. Yep.
Right.
Yep. If it's not going like this, then you're doing something wrong.
Exactly.
Apparently.
So where do you see yourself and your business in 5 years?
I mean, honestly, that is a tough one. I did recently, I know this is not the direct answer, but I will answer it. I have been listening to this podcast and I'm gonna butcher his last name, Jim Rohn, the best sales guy on the face of the earth.
Yeah.
He has an episode where he gets you to write out, like you just keep writing all of the things that you want from life, and then you put the years, like when do you want this by, 1 year up to 10 years, and most people can't look beyond 2 years. And I was like, wow, in 10 years, like I don't even know, I want to still be alive. Like that. Still healthy, happy. But and then he says, now you have to look at the things that you want and say, well, who do you have to be to get these things? So I'm going to say in 5 years, I I obviously would still love to be in this space of coaching because I love helping people. It fuels my soul. Like it is my purpose on this planet to help people, whether it's, with whatever, like I just want to help people feel better and unlock their powers. But will it be in, a format of training people one-on-one? Will it be in a format of Bikini Bliss? Will it be in a format of a course? Will it be something different? Will I be teaching yoga retreats? I can't say.
Yeah.
There's too many things, Erin.
I like that. I like the fact that well, the one thing, that in 5 years you'll still be helping people. That's something that you want to do.
I want to be in this space. Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool. Okay. And so we're going to turn it just a bit. So what is one thing that you think people can do to change their health trajectory? Like the women you worked with predominantly women, right?
Yeah.
So what's the one thing you think they can do? Or I mean, I know there's a whole bunch of things people can do, but
I get what you're saying. I mean, if there's one thing that I could just get everybody to do before they even lift a weight, it's to believe in themselves. So however they do that, whatever, how many times you have to listen to Mel Robbins and do her high five in the mirror thing. Like, I don't know, but if you have that belief in yourself, then everything else is so much easier to do. And it's just a workout in the morning. You're just moving your body because it's part of the things that you have to do today.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
Like taking your vitamins.
Well, speaking of vitamins, what is your go-to supplement?
I'm gonna say, is this gonna be a plug for you?
Oh, I'll take a plug.
My favorite supplement is actually the Sleep and Beauty. And I know, yeah, because I struggle with staying asleep and falling asleep and sleep. I struggle with sleep.
Do you have blackout blinds? Do you have blackout blinds?
No, because I also like when the sun comes up. So
should.
I like waking up with the sun, but going to bed is very difficult for me. So this is trippy actually. We would shut the TV off and go to sleep, and I would start hearing music playing in my ears.
Oh, no way.
Like piano. Yeah, for the past week now. So I'm like, and I'm very much in the spiritual realm of things. So I'm like, what is the message? Should I play piano?
I have a former relative who played piano trying to contact me right now.
Right.
What's going on?
So I think it's just a busy mind. So it helps me fall asleep and stay asleep, and it tastes good and it has collagen in it. So I'm like, those are all wins straight across the board. Something else that I love taking that I'm hoping that maybe someday you will add to your arsenal is colostrum.
Yes, I know. Seeing colostrum too. I have a bunch of product. We have 3 new ones coming. Colostrum's not on that list, but I will definitely add that to it. So you take colostrum on a regular basis?
I do. You know what's funny is my mom actually told me about it because in America they are just way ahead of the ball than we are. And she told me about it in February. I came home and I started taking it, and like my hair, my nails, my skin, everything I'm going to say within the first 2 to 3 months, I noticed a huge change. And then I was like, maybe my hair will faster if I take colostrum and collagen and my collagen and my Sleep and Beauty.
And
it worked. Yeah, it works. But it gets expensive when you get your nails done because they grow out very, very quickly.
Yeah.
I'm constantly having to go for eyebrow waxes. My hair is growing less fast, but I did just take my extensions out and it's still pretty long. So
well, that's something to think about. I know there's not a bunch of companies. There's not many companies up here who do colostrum. I know that for a fact. I think there's like 2, to be honest.
I was very suspect about it at first because I was like, really? But NAC too, I take that also regularly.
NMN is one of my favorites too. Have you gotten behind
that too?
That helps the mitochondria, helps with focus. I take up to 600 milligrams when I take it. If you get one, you want to take it that has resveratrol and quercetin in it because it helps with the uptake. You don't want to just take it on its own. I do a higher dose, but in that I can be very, I'll be working on one thing and I'll be like, oh, and I'll start working on something else and I'll come back. Oh, and then I open up another one and I have like 10 windows across the board. I'm just doing this all the time.
I think that's called ADHD.
Yeah, probably. And however, when I take NMN, I find I'll focus on one thing and get it done.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I've really noticed with it. Yeah, so I
That's
haven't had it
interesting.
actually the past couple of weeks. I need to perk some more up, but that's one of the things I really noticed. And I was like, oh, interesting. I'll finish one task before I move to the next. But
That is
otherwise,
actually,
I'm like just like a little ping pong ball all over the place, and I'll go get a product and wrap stuff up.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm like that too. That
yeah,
is really interesting, especially for people who are trying to come off of ADHD prescriptions.
yeah. NMN would be a really good one to look at for sure. So, do
So,
you have any tips for keeping balanced? I mean, if there is such a word, but do you have any tips for keeping balanced?
do you?
I had I had Paulina Cameron on a while ago, and I loved what she said. She said how she stays balanced because she's a mom and she runs the forum. She's now stepping into a different venture. But she says when whatever she's doing, talk about focus for the last
Yeah.
conversation, but she is 100% there. So when she's with her kids, she's 100% with her kids. When she is working, she's 100% at work. And she tries to really do that. And then she finds she stays more balanced because she doesn't feel guilt about
Yeah.
being with her kids and wanting like not focusing with them or vice versa. And I thought that was an interesting way of
That is really smart.
like really just trying to stay in the moment with what you're doing, which I mean goes back to the which we need NMN all the time. So
That is actually, that is really good advice.
yeah,
For me, I have my non-negotiables in the morning. So I wouldn't say that I'm balanced per se, but there are things like, wake up, meditate,
yeah,
journal, put yourself in the frame of mind that you need to be in so that everything that comes at you in the course of the day is not going to trigger anything and you can handle everything very even keeled. So we'll say balanced emotionally. Yes. Balanced in life, probably not.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with the morning thing. I mean, the morning first thing I do, lay there, do my, 5 things I'm grateful for. I don't journal as much as I used to. I used to journal all the time. I tried to get back into it. I just don't journal as much as I should, which maybe should be part of my New Year's thing. But it's still putting myself in the right frame of mind every day before I touch the phone, before I do anything. It's really about landing in a sense of gratitude and looking at the day ahead of me as to how can I make a difference? How can I step into being the best Erin I can possibly be in this moment, right? And just the whole, I was raised in a very Christian household. So the whole just, use me as, universal spirit, whoever there is, like use me and as a vessel to be good and do good in the world every single day. So really kind of giving that up to that in life.
Yep. Yep.
So that's a part of my stuff too. So what is one thing you would tell your 20-year-old self?
Books over boys.
That's yes, I totally agree with that. I was very boy crazy. So yes.
Mhm.
It's interesting watching Michaela. She is not really boy crazy. It's been very
Good.
fascinating. Yeah, I was just like, I wanted boys' attention so badly all the time. And I know that was just my little Erin and my dad stuff going on.
Yeah.
And her and I've had lots of conversations, but she's just, she's really into her friends and playing volleyball and she likes boys, but she's not, it's very interesting to see how different she is,
Crazy. Yeah.
which is really
That's
nice.
good. That's good.
So that's nice. But I definitely agree with you on that one, books over
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
was boy crazy. Yeah.
For sure. What inspires you?
To do life.
Life?
Um, I am honestly overall inspired by the hope that there is something so much more to all of this, and we just can't see it. And we are actually capable of doing things that we don't even know that we're capable of doing yet. Um, I'm like, if you would have asked me 10 years ago, I would have been like, I am motivated by money. I need to make as much money as possible. I need this, I need this, I need this. And then I don't know, something happens, you hit a certain age or you have all the things and you're like, this
Yeah.
didn't do anything, you
Yeah.
know? So now I'm very into getting into the somatic breath work, stuff like that. Like, Kyla, right?
Yeah.
From Victoria. Yeah. So stuff like that, I'm really interested in. That's why I'm going into the positive psychology stuff because I just want to know more about what's going on up in our heads because so many people think that, once you get here, everything's going to be great and you have all this stuff and you're like, great. But that entrepreneur thing again, where they're only showing the front end. but also that's not going to bring you happiness. Happiness is going to be living aligned and authentically in yourself. So,
I fully
I'm
agree.
like, show me what I need to do and I'll do it.
Love that.
Yeah.
And lastly, what is your favorite swear word?
Oh, fuck, for sure.
That's a good one, isn't it?
What is yours?
Fuck. I think
Yeah.
I think it's a good one. There's actually research behind it, the power of that word that actually alleviates stress. So there's
Really?
research behind it. Yeah, I should actually look at that. But yeah, there's a guy who talks about it, how using swear words is actually important to actually relieve stress as well. So there we go.
That's very interesting. I wonder how cherry picked that data is, but also I like it, so it's fine.
So how can people find you if they want to start the challenge on January 8th? Where do they go? How do they register? Is anybody can do it, obviously?
Yeah, anybody can do it. We have an Instagram page at Bikini Bliss Challenge, website bikiniblissfitness.com, Facebook, Bikini Bliss Challenge, TikTok, Bikini Bliss Fitness. We're on all social media platforms. We even have a YouTube channel. It doesn't really post a lot, but there are some trip videos in there to show people what they get when they win. There's also a free Facebook community. Anybody can feel free to join. They can reach out to me. Instagram is probably the best handle. It's, once you're over 30, that's kind of where you hang out now. Instagram, and we're always there to answer messages. So yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on today. And
Thanks for having me.
I'll be watching January to see who wins. I know I watched some of the girls and all the sharing and posting of all of them kind of motivating each other. So that's really awesome. And anybody who is looking for an opportunity or looking for something to help motivate them and inspire them to stay on track, or they need some support, definitely check out Bikini Bliss Challenge, because I think it's a phenomenal way to kind of, kickstart the new year.
Well, you also pop in and teach us a lot of stuff too. So
Yes, it's fun. Thank you for having
all
me.
encompassing. Yeah. I appreciate that a lot.
Well, thank you for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And stay tuned next time. We have another Friends You Keep starting in 2024. This is our last podcast of the year. So there we go. Thanks.